Today's video is not about Christmas romances or horror movies or even My Little Ponies. It is about the game Flight Rising, which has devoured my life. Let's strap in. So I've been playing Flight Rising since July. I feel like I'm at an intervention. And so in 4 months, I feel like I have become fairly successful in the game. If you play yourself, some of my stats are I have 580 familiars in my bestiary. I have about 205 dragons. I am level 21 on Baldwins. And I don't do much Colosseum. So if you're looking for Colosseum pointers, you probably won't find them here. But what is Flight Rising, you ask? It is a dragon pet simulator and breeding game. It is my favorite thing. It's like Neopets, but with dragons, and it is a pet simulator, but it also has other facets. There's like a large art component. There's a large lore component where people are like creating stories for their dragons. For me, I probably get off on the capitalism component because I'm not succeeding in that in the real world. But yeah. As I said, I've been playing for about 4 months now as of recording. And I didn't walk into the game knowing everything. It's not like I read up on the wiki and the lore books before joining. And other people probably don't too. And so they are coming here for tips. I've got tips. They're for you. So let's talk about the Flight Rising economy, because that's what you came here for, a fake dragon economy. The Flight Rising economy is, I guess it has 3 forms of currency technically. There's 2 within the game. There is treasure, which you can, get through random events, playing their games, that sort of thing. There are gems, which can be purchased or won through random events or traded for. And then there is USD, which, people could theoretically, you're not supposed to buy things through anyone else besides Flight Rising, but I have to explain it within the confines of USD. So 1,000 treasure is about equal to 1 gem, which is about equal to 1 cent USD. You pay $10 to get 1,000 gems. So obviously, you're coming here and you're like, how do I get rich on Flight Rising? If you have a ton of discretionary income, it might just be easier to buy gems. I'm not telling you that you should slave away playing this game to just get a couple things that you want. For example, if you want to gene up a dragon real fancy with gem marketplace gems, that could cost you like 2,400 gems, or you could just pay like 24 human dollars and that'd be it. And I mean, if you're making above minimum wage, that might be something you want to do depending on how often. I will admit that I have spent real human money on the Flight Rising game. Not like a disgusting amount, but some. It's I think that it's like, I like the site so much that I'm okay with financially supporting the creators as I play it. So that's cool. It's essentially an art game, so I'm into that. Anyway, let's see. For structure, when I say a lot of money, like you're gonna get so rich. How is so rich? How much is that? I mean that you could be making hundreds of thousands of treasure per day that you play. For context, you can max out in the games section of Flight Rising at 75,000 gold treasure. So if you spent all your time playing games, right, and you maxed out, you would get 75,000 treasure. So what I'm talking about is more like how to passively make more money than that. And it's not entirely passively. Obviously, you're still playing the game, but you don't have to sit there clicking a button, which again is why I like never play Coliseum, because it's probably one of the more active aspects of the games. And also, for me, one of the less stimulating parts of the games. So yeah, my tips do not have to do with the Coliseum. I'm sure you can make money doing Coliseum things. People seem to do it all the time, but that's not how I do it. So tip number 1, if you are brand new to the site, I wholeheartedly recommend the raffles and giveaway forum. Flight Rising has a forum section. The giveaway raffle section has people who are literally giving stuff away. There's nothing expected of you generally. It's not like, I'll give you this if X. You just get it. It's fine. There's no strings attached. So on the free forum, you can get free dragons. You can get free items, apparel, Baldwin materials, familiars, things to unlock your hibernation den slots. Those are great. So yeah, I heartily recommend checking that out. As an anecdote, I got really lucky. This does happen on Flight Rising, but someone was leaving the site and they were giving away everything they had. I found this post on the forum. It was like, I'm giving everything away. And I was like, I will take, do you have any earth rune stones? I don't know why I wanted this. Maybe to unlock a hibernation den slot. And she had 26, so she gave me 26 runestones, which they're about 100,000 treasure each, so that's a lot. I have essentially used those runestones to play the game throughout my time there. It's been a good time. But you could get something else there. You could get a really rare dragon or a familiar. I know that sometimes when people are leaving the site, they give away really rare stuff like retired familiars and skins and that sort of thing. So yeah, I wholeheartedly recommend the giveaway forums. It's like your seed investment before you become filthy rich on Flight Rising. So another step to getting filthy rich on Flight Rising, if you're still new to the game, I definitely recommend bonding with your familiars. In the game of Flight Rising, you can attach familiars, which are like pets, to your dragons, and you can bond with a familiar per dragon per day. Fun fact, you can actually bond with a familiar, switch that familiar out, and bond with a different familiar on the same dragon. That's pretty time consuming, but if you have a lot of familiars that are only one bond away from giving you a treasure chest, then it can be useful, especially if you're in great need of treasure. Bonding with your familiars might be less impactful the richer you get, but when you're first starting out, 1,000 treasure is like kind of a big deal. And 1,000 times, if you have 30 familiars or 100 familiars, that can be a pretty big deal. And then not to mention that Fiona, who is part of the trading post aspect of Flight Rising, she will give you treasure if you accomplish feats on the site. Feats are like achievements in which you bond to a certain level with familiars. So yeah. Familiar bonding is my number 2. Number 3, brewing at Baldwins. You're gonna be Baldwin's bitch. That's gonna happen, and it's okay. For those of you who don't know, Baldwin is, again, another part of the trading post. You put items into his cauldron and different alchemical materials come out. At first I was a little weirded out by this because you literally, like, you put familiars in sometimes, and familiars are alive in the lore of the game, so that's frightening. But yeah, so you starting immediately when you get on Flight Rising, you can start brewing. And what happens is you can essentially brew once every 30 minutes. That's the standard brew time. You can better brews take longer. So for example, if you were going to brew an item that cost a lot of money or gave you a lot of experience points, then that might take 10 hours. Do those ones at night. That's what I do. That's how you level up at Baldwin's. So yeah, when you're first starting out, just brew like crazy. Throw everything in that pot. Throw it in. Because one, it'll up your EXP so that you can brew better things that are worth more money. And 2, you can sell even the material components for really good money. You can take an item that's worth almost nothing, like less than 500 treasure, right? Let's say you put like a food snack in there. You put a food item, and then it turns into a goo, because food turns into goo. Familiars turn into muck. Apparel turns into slime. Trinkets turn into sludge. So yeah, for example, the color schemes for the goo and the sludge go like green, yellow, orange, red, purple, blue, and the blue is really rare and the green is really whatever. So if you get a green, it's not worth a ton, but if you get a blue, it's worth like so much treasure, and you can sell it and have that treasure. And it's essentially like red's kind of in the middle. And if you brew a red one, that's worth like 11,000 treasure. So you've turned like 50 into 11,000. If it's blue, I don't know, 30,000, something like that. It's really good. Great rate of return. If only the real economy was like that. We shed a tear. So yeah, get that sweet blue goo. Brew long brews at night to level up. Once you get to like level 15, you can brew jeans like capsule that I heartily recommend, and more expensive apparel. At that point, you're turning around and making like 100,000 treasure per item, which is pretty good. That's how you make 100,000 per day, at least, is by brewing every day. And if you get unlucky with brewing and you just let's say you want silver muck, but you are only getting copper muck. Well, the copper muck is still worth more than the familiar that you dumped in there. So you can sell that and buy more familiars and then keep the process going forever until you die, because Baldwin owns your soul. My number 4 point is to gather intelligently. Flight Rising has a daily gathering component. You can gather 15 turns, 18 if you are dominating, if your flight is dominating. So I would say that you can, instead of just gathering without any specification, you can, what is it called? Well, Flight Rising has a fandom wiki, and if you feel like going onto it, you can learn about which items will help you unlock hibernation den slots, or that you can use to trade with Swip, who is a part of the trading post. Those items are more valuable than just any old items you get while gathering. And so since you can gather for free, you might as well gather for money. I mean, sometimes it's important to gather for food for your dragons, but you can also get free food in the giveaway forums. So I have had good luck getting certain items by gathering. The ones that are currently worth a decent money are dwarf shelf fungus. That's foraging in light. You get that. That's worth like 8,000 an item, and sometimes you get like a stack of 5 or whatever. That's pretty good. Gliding ants are pretty solidly worth some money all the time. And once you get up to higher levels, emerald strikers and like amethyst cobras or whatever they're called, those are worth quite a lot because they're swip swaps. So that's point number 4. Point number 5, my technique. Definitely, this is the most important one. Utilize the elemental holidays. Flight Rising has 11 elemental holidays. There's one every month except for December. They have like a different thing then. But because there are 11 flights, different elements that your dragon lair can be, they have 11 elemental holidays. The ones I have experienced are the lightning one, and then the Flame Forgers Festival, and then the Starfall Celebration. I'm Arcane. If you want to look me up, my username is Finder77. The numbers not written out. But yeah, currently Arcane Flight. Kind of regretting it because we never dominate. Every month, what happens is there is a week at the end of the month, and during that week, you can acquire rare items that at the end of that week will be retired. And any item that is retired on Flight Rising is worth really good money. And when I say really good money, I mean about 100,000 treasure. I have found that even recently, like very recent holidays, the turnaround and the sellability of items is very good. My theory is that when the holiday is over, people realize, oh no, I didn't get that thing I wanted, but I want it. And so they go and they buy it on the auction house. And so now is your chance to sell things on the auction house. So how to prepare for elemental holidays? Well, the way that you get elemental holiday currency is you gather. So you have 15 chances to get some there, but you also can brew. And brewing is very important because it is proactive and you can take fate into your own hands to make those sweet dragon bucks. They allow you to brew the currency. You could brew 1 currency or 5 currency or 10 or 20. Definitely recommend 20. Everything else is a waste of your time. To brew 20, you need copper muck and gray slime. That is familiars and apparel. During the month leading up to the elemental holiday, I definitely recommend just brewing your butt off, trying to prepare as many as you can. Right before the Riot of Rot, I think I had about 28 of each, the gray slime, the copper muck. So yeah, I was ready and rearing to go. I just smashed them in every 2 hours and 50 minutes to make currency so that I had a bunch of currency that I could use to buy the rare items that were then immediately retired, and then I could sell them for money. That's my technique. I do recommend selling the newly retired items as quickly as possible post-retirement, like directly when the holiday ends. That's when I recommend selling. There might be a slight nudge up, but then it is pretty much all the way down, at least in the month to 3 months afterwards. Obviously, I don't have any knowledge of what the dragon market was like before I joined in July, but so yeah, my technique number 6 is similar to holiday currency. It is focusing on limited time events. Flight Rising has a lot of limited time events in which you can get retired and valuable items. Like they're kind of like one day or like 1 week events where you can get something. The two that I have seen are Pirate Day. There was one that was in September. They released 2 familiars, which were then retired like the day after or 3 days after. They were macaws. So I brewed my butt off to get like 7 of those, 3 of each, give or take, because there was a red and a yellow one. And then, like, immediately after, they were each worth about 100,000 treasures. So that was a pretty good investment on return, especially if you consider that well, I was getting a lot of my familiars and apparel for free off the the giveaway forum. So besides Pirate Day, there was also the Willowmane Deerling, which was released with the Veilspun update. The Deerling was available for a week, and I got like 14 of them, and I have sold about half, and I've been selling them for gems because I'm actually trying to what's the word, buy Veilspun jeans and that sort of thing. But I've been making about 50 gems per Willowmane Deerling, and as I said before, like 1,000 treasure is 1 gem is 1 cent. So if it's 50 gems, it's like I made 50 cents. Not exactly, but kind of. Per deerling, obviously. So yeah, and then my last and final technique is breeding, which is probably the one I'm least sure about. I'm not unsure whether it makes money. I'm more unsure what is actually most desirable within the market. I myself have been focusing on storm-colored imperials and mist-colored coatls and wild claws. I really like purple. Dragons have 3 genes, primary, secondary, and tertiary. If they are all the same color, the dragon's price increases by a few thousand, depending on what other attributes they have. But if, for example, a dragon that is a hatchling and has an XYZ gene spectrum that the colors don't match, the price lowest on auction house will probably be like 6,000 if it is ready to breed, or if it is a rarer dragon such as wild claws or coatls, it'll be more like 7,000, maybe 8,000. And then if you have any sort of dragon that has all of its 3 genes lined up, XXX as opposed to XYZ, then you it's worth more. I haven't quite figured out how much more because it seems like it varies on the auction house. It seems like you can definitely get 15,000 very easily for a triple gene that's lined up, depending on what it is or whether the dragon is more valuable, or how rare the genes are, or whether they are gem marketplace genes, then it might be even more valuable. I have seen triple storm imperials go on the market for 100 gems. That's a lot. So yeah, on the marketplace, you can find certain genes that are more desirable than others and make money that way. Because when you breed a dragon, you're not necessarily putting money into it. You're just putting 2 dragons together into a nest, which you get to keep afterward, and they make babies. I definitely recommend doing that as often as possible, because even if you have the ugliest, most fodder dragons in the whole world, you will be able to sell them for about 5,000 each, which is harsh, but you need that money. So those are my points. To reiterate, giveaway forums, bond with your familiars, brew at Baldwins, gather for rare items, utilize those elemental holidays and limited time events, and make sure your nests are always full. That sounds like a farewell. May your nests be always full. I hope this was helpful, and if you have your own technique, I want to know, because I want to get filthy rich on Flight Rising. See you there.